What is up, everyone? Thank you for joining us again here at the Schaefer Stock Market Podcast. I am Josh Selway, an editor at Schaefer's Investment Research. I am recording this podcast on Wednesday, July 17th. I'm getting ready to head out of town for a few days, so I'm getting this podcast out today. Had a few things to do this week to prepare for that, so we're just going to do a quick and simple podcast this week, going over some of the stocks that we've been covering over at schaefersresearch.com. And the first name I want to start with this week is one that's come up a lot this year, and that is ROKU, ticker ROKU, the streaming company that provides streaming technology and its own streaming services as well. To go on top of that, ROKU has paired up with some TV companies to provide their technology within the companies. I have the TCL ROKU Smart TV, and for the price, it's been a pretty good TV, and I've actually seen these TVs just in random places in my everyday life. I've seen them at friends buying these TVs and at restaurants, etc. So they seem to be selling quite well, and many analysts have been moving in on ROKU, and the stock just this week has jumped to record highs. It's currently trading around $109, $108 per share. And that's after it came into 2019 around just $30 per share. So that just shows how big of a move ROKU has made this year. It's just been in a huge uptrend. And just this past week, we had an analyst come in with another buy rating and $115 price target. And what we continue to note about ROKU is what we're always looking for, that perfect storm setup from a contrarian perspective, where there's a stock that's just building momentum, surging higher, yet Wall Street has not adjusted properly. There's still a lot of bearish sentiment around ROKU, so we could see some of that start to unwind, and upgrades and a reversal of sentiment also in the options pit can help a stock move higher, and that's what we could see here with ROKU. It's also heavily shorted as well. So all these things make for a good setup here for ROKU. We could see the stock move even higher. And earlier in the week when we wrote about ROKU, we mentioned that there was accelerated options volume around the stock, and it looks like many traders were betting on more upside for the shares in the weeks ahead. So bullish activity is starting to pick up a little bit on ROKU. Some traders are starting to pay attention and betting on more highs ahead from the streaming stock. We also, of course, looked at Amazon this week as its Prime Day was kicking off. Of course, it was 2 days this week. There was a lot of analyst attention around Amazon during the event, mostly bullish analyst attention. Jefferies called out Amazon's one-day shipping as a potential difference maker for the company compared to its other e-commerce peers. But one really interesting aspect of this year's Prime Day, which I was reading about over at Reuters, was that Amazon was offering a promotion to give a $10 credit card or $10 of credit to allow to track the websites that you visit. So that's pretty interesting. And so basically this was meant to augment their Amazon Assistant, which is a shopping tool that lets customers see the price of whatever products they're looking for on certain websites like Walmart, Target, and then it'll show the price for the same product on Amazon. So, but you get $10 here if you let Amazon track wherever you go online. So if that's something that interested you, you could have done that. It seems like that might be worth more than $10, but kind of fascinating approach there from Amazon. And moving on to a bunch of lesser known companies. In fact, there was a lot of penny stock buzz this week over on the website that we were writing about. So I wanted to get into some of that. And the first name actually isn't technically a penny stock, but if you've ever paid attention to it, you know that it basically is. And that is Blue Apron, because Blue Apron just had a horrific start to its trading life. Shortly after the company went public, Amazon announced that it could be moving into the food delivery space and that type of business. But Blue Apron the stock just simply continued to sell off essentially ever since it went public. And then the company just did a huge reverse stock split. So right now the price is technically near $10 actually. $10 per share, but really it's a penny stock, so we're going to approach it as one. And the reason we're looking at Blue Apron this week is thanks to news, the company will be featuring Beyond Meat's plant-based burgers. So that's another customer there for Beyond Meat, which of course, that stock in itself was a huge story on Wall Street for a while. But for Blue Apron, this at least led to a solid move on the charts for one day. It was up about 17% when we were writing about it. And there was some options activity that came with that as well that we wrote about over on the site. One penny stock that an analyst at B. Riley says to sell is Adamas Pharmaceuticals. That is ticker ADMP. That company makes a rival for the EpiPen, and it's already been a horrible performer on the charts. It was down over 60% at the time of our writing, but still most analysts were bullish on the stock, so it could continue to struggle. At the time of our writing, it was trading at $1.40 per share, and B. Riley is expecting a move down to $1.10 per share. Next up, I want to talk about Imuron, ticker IMRN. That stock exploded higher this week thanks to news that the Australia company's main product, Travelin, saw a huge bump in sales after being mentioned on just 2 podcasts. Well, I guess this makes it 3 podcasts then. This drug or treatment, I'm not sure how it works exactly. They said that it is made from naturally occurring antibodies, and it's been shown quite effective in trials apparently, but it's meant to reduce diarrhea and other digestion issues that some might have when they're traveling to foreign countries. So that jumped out at me because this is a pretty young stock. It's only been trading for about 2 years now, and it's mostly struggled on the charts. But if this main product clearly has been gaining some traction here, and it seems like something that I'm not sure if there are competing products for it, if there's already remedies out there for this type of situation when you're traveling. And, a lot of people know how this works when you travel to different areas and stuff. A lot of people experience these types of issues with the food, or if it's water or whatever may cause the issue with digestion when you're traveling. This just seems like something that could gain a lot of traction here. So I'm going to be monitoring Imuron's Travelin product and to see if the sales continue to increase. They say that North America revenue overall for the company jumped 52% for fiscal year 2019. So IMRN, that is a stock I will be watching going forward. Another name that made an interesting move this week is Orion Group Holdings, ticker ORN. That is a specialty construction stock that just won a more than $50 million contract, and they're going to be providing services to the South Texas Gateway Terminal project. And this sent the shares soaring up about 9% at the time of our writing. This continues a recent rebound from the stock. It hit a low of around 131 in May, so it's been soaring higher since last seen trading around $4 a share. So that is one stock that is gaining momentum. It's given back some of the gains today. And then 3 more penny stocks that we wrote about just today are Francesca's Holdings, ticker FRAN, CAR-T specialist Anixa Biosciences, ticker ANIX, and then there's also Guardian Health Sciences, ticker GHSI. Francesca's popped because of a new stake from Cross River Capital. They took a stake in the company. Francesca's, though, has just had a horrible sell-off in the past year. It was trading around $90 a year ago, and now it's down, and again, it's in the penny stocks category here. It was around $3.90 per share today, so just a huge sell-off in the past year for Francesca's. Short interest is high on that stock, equating to more than 33% of the float, so extremely high there in short interest on Francesca's. Anixa Biosciences, we were looking at that stock because they are teaming up with the Cleveland Clinic to work on a breast cancer vaccine, so that's extremely interesting. The shares were last seen up about 18% at $4.88 per share. But Guardian is the one making the biggest move. When we were writing about it, it was up 188% on the day. This was news that the company's main medical device, which is meant to help in treating multiple different eye conditions, just received a patent in Hong Kong. So big news there. It's only been trading publicly since April, so this will be its best close since around that time, since April 18. It was last seen trading at $2.69 per share. Going to step away from penny stocks for a second here to touch on this earnings release from CSX. That is the transportation freight company that just released earnings. And again, this is another big company with heavy exposure to multiple industries, reporting a slowdown in growth and sales. They missed analyst expectations on the top and bottom line. They cited trade headwinds. So this is another company that's struggling with headwinds on the trade front. As we talked about in the last podcast, the main thing with these trade disputes that we're having, whether it be just the tariffs themselves or the negotiations and all the talk around them, is that it creates a big level of uncertainty in the business community. It makes it hard for business to make big moves, and that could be part of the issue here for CSX. And even in the conference call following the earnings release, their CEO mentioned unusual economic conditions. So this may be a trend to watch as earnings season picks up, to be sure to see these different companies that are being affected by trade and global economic conditions at the moment. I also want to call everyone's attention to this week's Indicator of the Week, always written by our senior quantitative analyst, Rocky White, who looks at a number of different data points, historical data, what's happening this year, and does weekly studies. This week, he took a look at the trajectory of the S&P 500 index for 2019 and how similar price action for stocks has played out in the past. So he's basically putting these gains from this year in the charts up against similar years from the past and see how those played out in the second half of the year. So I always recommend checking out the Indicator of the Week. Also, our top trader, Todd Salamone, the head senior VP of research here at Schaefer's, he does, of course, the weekly Monday morning outlook. I would check that out as well. You can get those for free sent to your inbox. Check out our other newsletters over at Schaefers.com too, or just check us out on Twitter, StockTwits, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you want to look for Schaefers. Find some of our research and the data that we are looking at. But until next week, I'm going to leave it right here. Again, a little bit shorter show since I'm heading out of town, but I will be back at the end of next week to deliver whatever I'm looking at the stock market. Thank you guys so much for listening. Subscribe and review wherever you are listening. But this is Josh Selway signing off. Talk to you soon.